Hi everyone. I was reading the comments about what I was asking in December exams in regards to substantive procedures, and as expected, were asked a lot of substantive procedures, and these were intangible assets, receivables and revenue, payroll, bank balances, provision for legal claims. Now I thought I should do a short video just to show you how would I have prepared for this exam, and just to give you some insights, and I hope this short exercise would be helpful for you. So let's get into it. So I've picked up a question here in September, December, just because it has substantive procedures on trade receivables and bank balances, and the one that they were asked in the December exam. So I've picked up this example here, and I went through this already, so I've highlighted just to go a little bit faster. And so if we just let's have a look at this paragraph in here. If we read this paragraph in here, and will give us some idea of what we should do or we should not do. So let's just read this one. So Jasmine, this is the company name. Trade receivable ledger is comprised of a larger number of customers. And here's this paragraph in here from here to here. It says that you should not focus on receivables on year-end receivable circularization, because we all know that will leave us to different substantive procedures that we have to put down on the exam paper. So the examiner says here that we should not focus on this one because this is not to be undertaken, and this year the audit team had taken a different approach, right? So remember this and read carefully. I know in the exam there's a lot of pressure, but if you don't read carefully, that you'll do mistakes. So and have a habit of highlighting what's important, what is important, what not is important, right. And then it goes on and says the year-end trade receivable balance is 3.9, and the allowance for trade receivables is this. When you see these figures, you just quickly look 3.9248. Okay, it's more than last year. You can actually do ratios, but if you have time, right, to see if this increase here is in line with this increase here. So for 110, that looks okay, 30 something percentage, so that looks okay. And you then just can start substantive procedures. So this is the question, and it's for 5 marks, and you should put down 5 well explained substantive procedure. Now for this example, I've picked up a trade receivable from the internet, listing from the internet. Now I had the experience of working in accounts receivable, payable, filing, bank, performing bank reconciliation. So for me was something that I already knew. But if you're not working in the accounts, that's no problem, because you can go on go open the internet and pick up age receivable listing. The examiner has asked you to perform substantive procedures on the receivables, right? So that was the question, right? On trade receivable. So you have a list. So first of all, as a procedure, you can put down request an age receivable listing from the management, right, which is this one. You have it here, and cast it to assure that is okay, accurate, that the totals are okay. You use this word. So if you look at this listing, this balance here is quite old. So as a procedure in an exam, you should say review the listing for any old balances or slow moving, which is this one, and this example is this one, and discuss with management if there is any correspondence with the customer. Is this balance going to be paid? And then you can also say that you can review the board minutes for any financial difficulties of any customer. The directors in their meeting, in the board meeting, they might have been spoken about this balance that they can't get this money from the customer, and they will just proceed legal action. The third procedure you can put down, review the board minutes. So by looking at this listing, which I picked up from the internet, this is not from the company I work for, it's from the internet, you can come up with procedures, and they're not hard to come up. You just need to practice. When you practice home, you just need to think in a logic way and visualize this in your head, because that if you do that, then it will be straightforward and it'll be much easier for you in the exam. So next thing you can do is you can say that you can calculate the age receivable collection period, just to see if the credit control are doing their job, and compare this with previous years, just to see if the monies, they're collected faster or even harder than last year, just to see if there are any cash difficulties. Right, so the next one you can say is, because the examiner here, if you look at the question, the examiner here spent time on the mentioned the allowance for receivable. You can say that you can obtain a breakdown of this allowance, which is 410, and you can compare it with last year, with the breakdown from last year, just to see if this is reasonable. And what else can you say? Yeah, and another thing I want to show you is, when you're doing questions and when you don't have a tutor to tell you what to do and not to do, make a habit of reading the examiner report, because these are really helpful. And I was doing this all the time because there was no one to tell me what to do or what not to do, and this is helpful. So if we read the examiner report here in regards to this question, so it says, right, let's see. So it says the performance was satisfactory, which is good for this question, part A, right? 1 mark was awarded for each well-described substantive procedure. Those candidates who had practice past paper scored well, noting procedures such as after-date cash receipts testing, analytical review procedures, review age receivable reports, discuss on management, the recoverability of that one, and that was shown to. Also, many candidates recommending cut-off testing. Candidates once again suggested using invoices rather than, right. So if you want to confirm the cut-off testing at the year end, the revenue at the year end, if it's split it correctly between this year end and next year end, you cannot pick up an invoice. You should pick up a delivery docket that was sent to the customer after the year end, just to see if that for that delivery docket was an invoice raised and was taken through this year revenue, just to inflate the revenue, just to give a better revenue for this year. So this is what the examiner is saying. Why would you pick up an invoice? Why would you not pick a delivery note? Right. So next thing says here, right, discuss receivables with management without explaining what was to be discussed. Again, what should you discuss here? Receivables listing, it's facts, it's just totals. Yes, you might discuss with management this one here, what's going on when this one was received. You should inspect the post year end bank statements to confirm or if this was received or not. Yes, and you should ask management about that one, but there's not much to talk about with management there. Let's see what else examiner is saying. And discuss. Yes, it was disappointing to see that many candidates still recommended procedures relating to circularization must carefully read the scenario and tailor the procedures accordingly. Yeah, that's correct, because they spend time in here saying that from here to see here that a circularization will not be performed. So why would you spend time in here? Right. So let's move on to the next one. The next one is asking for the bank balances, right? Bank balances. And if we take a different approach, if we read the examiner report first, and then we do the question, you'll get a lot of information of what you should do and what not to do, right? So let's see. Performance on this part B was disappointing. So this is September, December 2018, right? So disappointingly, candidates seems to note that the bank balance was an overdraft, so they focus on going concern procedures. So this is something disappointing that the examiner says, right? Reference to the bank balance were given, such as ensure that the bank balance matches the cash balance, right? Okay, so by reading these, I can summarize that the examiner was not happy here, disappointingly here, because students focus too much on the going concern procedures, when in fact this going concern question is the next one. So if you look at these, the audit procedure, so for going concern. So let's quickly read this paragraph here, right? So the bank balances and cash figure included in adjustment draft financial statements is comprised of a number of bank balances. So what does it say here? That they have more than one bank account, right? An overdraft of 5.1 million, which is huge, which is company main current account, and 0.2 several savings account. So from this this sentence here, what we get that the company has more than one bank account. It has several bank accounts and an overdraft. But if they have an overdraft, that's nothing relating to, that's nothing what we should, right? We should ask about when is this overdraft being renewed. But there's nothing about giving us a hint for the bank balances, right? So we should read further. The finance director has informed that the audit manager that all the accounts have been reconciled as at year end. So it gives the examiner gives us this information here that all the bank balances have been reconciled. So we should focus on this one because we are asked for the bank balances, not going concern. If you see this paragraph here, this is to be focused on the going concern procedures with this question in here. So just be careful when you're reading questions, right? We're not going to do this one. I just picked up receivables and bank balances because we're asked in December exam. But just you should know, just because it didn't put a title here, going concern, that doesn't mean that this one should be included in this question here, right? So keep that in mind, right? Now, for this example, I've picked up a bank reconciliation again from the internet. It's not from the company I work for. So this is a bank reconciliation, a simple, straightforward. Even though if you're not working in a company and in an accounts, department in a company, or you've never done a bank reconciliation before, that doesn't mean you can't put down procedures in regards to this, because you look up on the internet and you find example, right? So if you're looking at this bank reconciliation, right? First of all, what can you ask? What can you say? You can say that first of all, you can ask the bank that the company is working with to give you a confirmation letter of all the bank accounts that the company has, because the finance director mentions that there are several bank accounts. So you can ask, you can put that down as a substantive procedure, as a procedure, and then you can move on and say, first of all, you can check this figure in here. So you can say agree the balance from the bank reconciliation, which is this one, agree the balance from the bank reconciliation with the bank statements at the year end with one of them. So imagine there are several bank accounts. You would have several bank reconciliation like this. So this is printed on a piece of paper from your account software. So you have more than one of these, right? So for each one of these, so you have loads of procedures, loads of things to do in regards to this bank reconciliation. You should not focus on going concern on this question, right? So first of all, you can say confirm this balance, confirm the bank balance from the bank reconciliation with the actual bank statement at year end, and with the confirmation letter that you had received from the bank, and you tick that one is gone, is confirmed. If you look at this deposit in transit is called here, but this is enlargement, so this more than likely relates to the revenue that was from the 31st of December, and it's not not hit the bank yet, so you can say review the pre-year end cash lodgement and agree that these are paid after the year end bank statement. So you should look for this amount, and you should look if this one is in your bank statement after the year end. If you'll find this 400 after the year end, that means that this reconciliation is accurate so far, right? So this is one thing you should do. One procedure you should put down. And as you see, you don't need to learn anything. If you have a bank reconciliation on your head, like I said, think in a logic way. If you have this on your head, you'll be able to put down easily procedures down in the exam. And so this reconciliation at the year end, right? And there was a check issued on 29th of December. In this example, in the exam question, it doesn't give us a reconciliation like this, so we can mention a follow-up that check on the 29th of September. But you can say review the unpresented checks that were issued before the year end, like this one, and agree that this one was cashed or cleared after the year end. And if this one was issued, like let's say 4 or 5 months before the year end, then you can discuss with management about if they have any correspondence with the supplier in regards to this one. Was it received? Is it lost? Will they clear it? We don't really care if they will cash it in the next few days or months or whatever. But at this stage, we need to know if this one was lost or not, because if it was lost, then this reconciliation is not accurate. We have to reverse this one here, right? For example, we have to reverse this one or whatever. And the next procedure you can put down, trace all the unpresented checks from the pre-year end, from the bank reconciliation to the after year end, to the after year end statement. I know that this procedure sometimes might be hard to remember, but if you practice a lot past papers, like I said, if you practice a lot, and even if you use your own words, it might be that you're like me, you're not an English native speaker, and you might not remember everything, or you might not, your English might not be that good. Put your own words. If you put your own words and you explain what you want to do with these, the examiner will give you marks. So it's not impossible, and then what else you can say? Review the pre-year end bank transfers for any window dressing that the examiner, the management might do, because as you know, they might want the year-end bank balances to show a better picture. So you should say that, as a procedure. Yes, so you can see here I have the receivables, and I have all these substantive procedures put in one place into these notes. I've used several notes, but mainly this one. To be honest, I knew these notes by heart, but not by learn these procedures from this piece of paper. Just by doing the past papers and the examiner kit and everything what I could possibly find on the internet. If you do past papers enough, if you practice enough, these will be stuck in your head. So you don't have to, necessarily work in an accounts department. This was a quick exercise, a simple one, just to show you how would I have prepared for this exam. And I know that you're saying that it was difficult, but audit and assurance is all about past papers. So let me know if this exercise was useful.